Good evening, guys. In the last session, we started our discussion related to OOPS concepts, right? So programming languages are divided into two types. One is procedural oriented programming languages and object oriented programming languages. In the procedure oriented programming languages, everything will be developed as functions. So it is very difficult to manage the functions and data will be exposed outside. We can't achieve security for the data. So those kind of challenges are available in pop languages. That's why OOPS came into market. If you go for OOPS, we will develop everything in the form of classes and objects. So if functionality is increasing, our classes will increase and our objects will increase. Managing the classes and objects is very easy than managing the functions. And the main advantage of the OOPS is security. We can achieve security for our data by using OOPS concepts. And another biggest advantage in the OOPS is code reusability. The code which is developed by one programmer can be reused by another programmer if you go for OOP languages. Java is a pop language or Java is a OOP language. Java is a OOP language. OOPs specific to only Java? No. OOPs are global principles. Any programming language can support for OOPs principles. Any language which is supporting for OOPS principles is called as object-oriented programming language. Java is one of the object-oriented programming language available in the market. Coming to OOPS, there are four principles available. One is called encapsulation, second one is abstraction, third one is polymorphism, fourth one is inheritance. What is the meaning of encapsulation? What is the meaning of encapsulation? Encapsulation is used to combine the variables and methods as a single unit. By using encapsulation, we are achieving data hiding. We can combine our variables and methods as a single entity. How to achieve encapsulation? By developing the classes. Classes are the best example for encapsulation. Every Java class is a encapsulated class. Every Java class is a encapsulated class. And the next one is abstraction. What is the meaning of abstraction? Abstraction means hiding unnecessary data and providing only useful data. Hiding unnecessary data and providing only useful data is called as abstraction. How to achieve that abstraction? By using interfaces and abstract classes, we can achieve abstraction. Next one, polymorphism. What is the meaning of polymorphism? Exhibiting multiple behaviors based on the situation is called as a polymorphism. We are going to deal with objects in the Java. Object will exhibit multiple behaviors based on the situation. Java objects are called as polymorphic objects. Java object will have many behaviors, many forms will be available for Java object. Good. Next one, inheritance. What is inheritance? Extending the properties from one class to another class is called as inheritance. Parent class properties can be inherited by child class. What are the properties? What are the methods available in the parent class? Child class also can use that. What is the main advantage of going for inheritance? The main advantage of going for inheritance is code reusability. Okay, in order to implement OOPS concepts, first we need to have some knowledge on classes, objects, methods, variables. Then only we can implement OOPS concepts. If we don't know classes, objects, methods, variables, then only we can implement OOPS concepts. How to implement OOPS concepts? understand that by using these classes and objects. Is this clear? Is this clear now? Yep. Is my voice clear? Yes, perfect. Now, yesterday we started discussing about class and object. Can you tell me what is a class in the Java? Class is a plan or model or template. Class is a blueprint of object. Class is used to declare variables and methods. So what is the meaning of a project? Project means collection of classes. Once a class is created, for that class you can create any number of objects. What is the syntax of creating the object? New keyword. First, how to create a class? Class name. This is a class body, class starting point, class ending point. Inside the class, variables will be available and methods also will be available. Class is just imagination. That class will not exist physically. Next, we will go for object. What is the meaning of object? Any real world entity is called as object. Objects exist physically. Objects will be created based on the classes. Without having the class, we cannot create object. Class is mandatory to create the objects. Object creation means what? Object creation means allocating the memory in the JVM. Which keyword we are using to create the object? New keyword is used to create the object. Class variable is equal to new class name. This is used to create the object. User U1 is equal to new user. U1 is one variable which is holding user object. User U2 is equal to new user. U2 is a variable which is holding user object. For one class, I am creating two objects. Can I create multiple objects for a single class? Yes, you can create multiple objects for a single class also. Object means memory allocation. Object means memory allocation. Objects will be created by JVM in the runtime. Objects will be created in heap area. If object is not using, then garbage collector will remove that object from the heap. Right. Garbage collector is responsible for memory cleanup activities in the JVM. So now, who will manage the garbage collector in the Java? JVM. As a programmer, can I manage the garbage collector? No. Programmer will not have any control. Programmer will not have any control. All right. Now, guys, we are going to create a class like this. Class user is available. Class user is available. Inside this class, we are writing main method, public static void main, string arguments, string array arguments will be available. Inside this, I'm going to create the object. User U1 is equal to new user. What is the meaning of that? What is the meaning of that? I am allocating the memory. I am allocating the memory for the user. User U1 is equal to new user. We are allocating the memory for the user object. Now, when the object is created, in the JVM, memory will be allocated. When the object is created, memory will be allocated. So this is our JVM heap area. What is the meaning of heap, guys? What is the heap in the JVM? What is the heap in the JVM? Heap is used to store the objects. Now, here I'm creating one object. User U1 is equal to new user. User U1 is equal to new user. Now, U1. That means I'm creating one object for the user. That means here memory will be allocated and this object is pointing by one variable that is called U1 memory. When the object is created, JVM will allocate some address for the object. When the object is created, JVM will allocate some address of the address for the object. Can we get this address? Can we get this address? No, we cannot get this address. Right. Now, sir, what is the proof to say that object is created? You are saying that JVM is creating an object, JVM is allocating a memory, that object is pointing by one called U1. U1 is a reference variable which is pointing to our object. For every object, JVM will allocate one unique address. For every object, JVM will allocate one unique address. Based on the address, JVM is going to take this address. JVM will apply one formula. JVM will execute one formula. That formula will give one hash code. JVM will give one hash code. Hash code is a number. For every object one, hash code will be available. Address and the hash code both are same, both are not same. Most of the people thinks that object address, object hash code both are same. That is wrong. Address is different, hash code is different. When the object is created, address will be generated by JVM. By taking that address, it will execute one complex formula, hashing. We don't know what formula they are executing also, but that formula will give me one number. That number is called as a hash code. Every object will have unique hash code. Every object will have unique hash code. Sir, how to print a hash code of the object? There is a method called u1 dot hash code. There is a predefined method called hash code method is available. By calling that hash code method, we can see what is the hash code of the object. For every object, hash code will be generated. No two objects will have the same hash code. Every object will have a unique hash code. Sir, how to get the hash code of the object? To get the hash code of the object, there is a predefined method available. What is that method? Hash code is the method. By calling that method, we can get hash code of the object. Can we see what is the hash code of the object? Yes or no? Yes. Let me open my IDE. From today, we are going to develop the programs on IDE. Perfect. People are asking Diwali holidays. People are messaging me personally, sir, how many days holidays we are going to get? No, right, guys, see. No holidays, please don't give any holiday. No holiday. Good. Online people are better than offline people. हाँ? Daily people asking me, sir, कितना दिन छुट्टी देते हैं? मैं घर के जाने, मैं गांव को जाना है. My parents are calling me. I want to go home to celebrate Diwali. क्या celebrate करते हो भाई? Unemployed है आप. हाँ. After getting the job, you have to celebrate. Right. मम्मी पापा का पैसे waste मत करना. Once you start earning, then you can celebrate the festival, then you can enjoy. Now you are a dependent, you are jobless. You don't have a right to celebrate now because you are not earning anything. Once you start earning, if you are able to earn the money, then you can spend that money for your celebration. Yeah, you have to have that maturity. File, new, Java project. I'm going to create one Java project. Good. File, new Java project. I'm going to give my project name as Oops Examples. Project name as a Oops Examples. Click on next, click on finish. All right. SRC created. What is the meaning of SRC? Source. All our Java files we need to create in the SRC. Do I need to compile them? Do I need to compile my program? No. Who will compile? JVM will compile. IDE. IDE will use Java compiler internally, will compile our program, will generate the .class file. Where we can see the .class file? Bin directory. When you create the Java program in the SRC, automatically that program will compile and will create the .class file in the bin directory. Are you clear with this? SRC bin. SRC nothing but source directory. Bin nothing but binaries. Our bytecode will be available in the bin directory. Now right click on SRC, new class. I want to create one class. Package. Currently I'm not giving any package. I'm directly creating the class. My class name I am giving as user. Okay. User class is created. Inside this, I want to write a main method shortcut. Main control space enter. That main method generated. I want to create the object. User u1 is equal to new user. User u1 is equal to new user. I'm writing this. Now, I want to print hash code of the user1 object. U1 is a variable which is holding user class object. I want to print hash code of the object. How to print a hash code of the object? System.out.println u1 dot. When I keep dot, what happened? What happened? It is displaying all the methods of that class. But do we have any method in this class? Then why these methods are coming? IDE giving a no. No. There is a small concept here. We know what is inheritance, right? What is inheritance? Extending the properties from one class to another class is called as inheritance. What is the main aim of the inheritance? Code reusability. The main aim of the inheritance is code reusability. Now, for example, when I am inheriting the properties, from one class to another class. For example, I have a parent.java. In the parent.java, there is a m1 method. Now, I have another class called child.java. In the child.java, I have m2 method. Parent class is having m1 method. Child class is having m2 method. Now, child class is extending the properties from parent class. That means there is a inheritance relation. Is available. Child class is extending properties, or I can say inheriting properties from parent. Now, what are the variables available in the parent? What are the methods available in the parent? Child also can access without rewriting. That is called reusability. So when one class is extending the properties from another class, we can access that class properties and that class methods here. Now, child class already having m2 and the child class having the m1 also. Sir, how child class is having the m1? M1 is child class parent method. Child class parent is available. Parent class having the m1. That means m1 is available for child also. Are you guys getting my point? Now, in the Java, there is one class called java.lang.object. Object nothing but physical entity. But in the Java, there is a predefined class with a name called object. Okay, now let's go to our API. Let's go to our JSE API. Let's go to our JSE API. Let us check java.lang package. Go for java.lang. Can you see a class with a name called Boolean? Can you see a class with a name called class itself? A class available with a name called class only. Can you see a class with a name called double? Can you see a class with a name called long? Yes or no? Can you see a class with a name called number? Can you see a class with a name called object? There is a class with a name called object. There is a class with a name called string, string buffer, string builder, system, thread. These all are predefined classes which are available in the lang package. There is a class with a name called object. There is a class with a name called object. Now, can you read this? Can you yeah. Guys, in the Java, there is a predefined class with a name called java.lang.object. In the Java, there is a class with a name called java.lang.object. Now, if you create a class with a name called demo, if you create a class with a name called user, or if you create a class
Yeah.
We are not able to hear you.
Yes, it has been happening like on and off today a lot.
is my voice audible now?
Yeah, now it's audible.
Is it audible now?
Yes.
Yeah, good. Now, guys, in the Java, there is a class with a name called object. Object class available in which package? Java.lang package. For every class, object class is the super class. That means every class can access object class methods because object is by default super class for our classes. You no need to write that inheritance. By default, it is available. Now, u1 dot, I'm getting some methods, clone method, equals method, hash code method, clone method, equals method, hash code method, notify, toString, get class, notify all, wait method, like that the methods are coming. That means those methods are object class methods. Those methods are called as object class methods. Now we are able to open object class. From which version it is available? From JDK 1.0. Can you see a method? What is the method available? Hash code. What is the purpose of a hash code? It returns a hash code value for the object. So hash code is available in my class. Hash code is available in object class. Object class. Object class is a predefined class. In which package that class is available? In java.lang package. Okay. Can I access object class methods in my class? How it is possible? Object class is a predefined class. In that class, there are some methods available. Can I call the methods by using my class? Can I call those methods in my class? Yes, because object is already my super class. Object is already my parent class. Do I need to establish the inheritance, or already it is established? Already it is established. In Java, every class is going to act as a child class for the object. For every Java class, object class is a parent class. Every Java class can access the methods which are available in the object class. There are 11 methods available in the object class, like get class method available, hash code method available, equals method available, toString method is available, wait method available, notify method available, notify all method available, clone method available. Like that, there are so many methods. I mean 10 or 12, 11 methods are available in the object class. Those methods you can access from any class, because every class is having object as a super class. That means inheritance is by default available. Inheritance is by default available for every class. Every Java class is extending the properties from object class. So object class methods we can call directly. Object class methods we can call directly. Now see here, system.out.println u1.hash code control space. Am I typing that? No. I'm just doing control space and I'm selecting hash code method is coming. What is the purpose of hash code? To return the address of the object. Hash code is different, address is different. Hash code is generated based on the address. Sir, can I get the address of the object? Impossible. JVM is not going to provide you address details. Based on the address, it will generate the hash code. That hash code it is going to print for you. Clear? Now run this program. Can you see the number is printed on the console? Inbuilt console is available. 366712642. One number is printed. That number is called as hash code of the object. Are you clear with my point? Now, can I create one more object for same class? Can I create one more object? User u2 is equal to new user. Then system.out.println u2.hash code, u1.hash code and u2.hash code, u1.hash code, u2.hash code. Two objects created for same class. Hash code will be same, hash code will be different. Hash code will be different. Are you sure? Are you sure? Yes. Now print it. First object hash code, second object hash code. Both hash codes are same, both hash codes are different. Both hash codes are different. Can I create one more object? User u3 is equal to new user. User u3 is equal to new user. System.out.println u3.hash code. u3.hash code. Now not append system.out.println. Okay. Now run this program. See, 3 hash codes we are able to get. All 3 hash codes are same. They are different. Object is created for same class. 3 objects created, 3 hash codes generated. So what is the conclusion? What is the conclusion? Every object will have a unique hash code. JVM will assign unique hash code for every object. All right. So let me write what is hash code. What is hash code? What is hash code, guys? Hash code is a unique number. Hash code, for when we create, JVM will assign JVM will assign unique hash code for every object. No two objects will have same hash code. No two objects will have same hash code. We can get the hash code of the object. We can get hash code of the object by calling java.lang.object class hash code method. Are you guys getting my point? Right here, you can call that hash code u1 dot hash code. Hash code is our method. Hash code is a predefined method. Hash code is a predefined method. In which class hash code method is available? Java.lang.object. Note java.lang.object class is by default parent class for all Java classes. So every Java class will act as a child for the object. So our classes can access the methods of the object. Which method we are accessing now? We are accessing hash code. What is the purpose of hash code? The unique address that is assigned by JVM. So whenever you create an object by using new operator, object will be created in the JVM. JVM will allocate the memory for the object. It will allocate the address also for the object. Based on the address, it will generate the hash code. We cannot get the address, but we can get the hash code of the objects. Are you guys clear with my point? Okay, good. I'm creating 3 objects for the class. 3 objects are unique. I'm creating 3 objects for the class. Those 3 objects hash codes are different. Okay guys, good, fine. With this we understood how to create a object and how to get the hash code of the object. Can we check two objects hash codes are same or different? They are different. What is the proof? I'm printing that. I created 3 objects. 3 objects hash code I have printed. They are unique. That means every object will have a unique hash code. Perfect. Now, next term. Let's come to variables concept, guys. We already discussed about the variables. Okay. Variables concept is available. What is the purpose of variables? Come on. What is the purpose of the variables? Variables are used to store the data. No, that is what I told you. Address is different, hash code is different, right? Yes. Fine, guys. Good. We already discussed about variables. What is the purpose of variables? Variables are used to store the data. Variables are used to store the data. In Java, we have 3 types of variables. As of now, we discussed about just a variable. For the variable, data type will be available. That data type will have a size. If you don't assign the value, default value will be assigned. But now we are entering into depth of the variables. Okay, fine. What is a variable? Variables are used to store the data. All right. For storing the data, first we need to declare the variable, then we need to store the data. Integer a is equal to 10. A is a variable which is holding the value 10. The data type is a integer. The data type is a integer. Perfect. Variables are divided into 3 types, guys. Variables are, sir, when we discussed variables, you did not explain this. But now you are changing the story. You are saying that there are 3 types of variables available. When you born, your mother did not give you chicken biryani, mutton biryani. Yes or no? She gave you milk, dal, rice. Slowly, the dose is increased. Similarly, when we are learning the variables, हम बच्चे हैं. अभी थोड़ा maturity आ गया. Now we are going to understand the internals, the depth of the Java. Are you guys clear? So many times I told, this is not the right time to explain. We will discuss in the OOPS. This is not the right time to explain. We will discuss in the OOPS because at that time, our maturity is not sufficient to understand all the concepts in the Java. That's why just I gave the trailer. Now movie started. Understand? Right. Variables are there. Variables are used to store the data. To store the data into a variable, data type is mandatory. Data type is mandatory. There are 2 types of data types available. Primitive data types available, referenced data types available. Primitive data types already we have seen. Integer, double, float, long, char, boolean, like that. We have seen them. Referenced data types also we have seen. Arrays and strings. Arrays is a reference to data type. String is also a reference to data type. String is a class now. How it will become a data type? Every Java class you can take as a data type. Now, if you see, I have created user U1. What is this U1? Variable, right? Reference variable. What is the data type of the U1? User. U1 is a variable which is belongs to user data type. User is a primitive data type. User is a referenced data type. User is a reference data type. User is a class. User is a class. Every Java class we can use as a data type. Every Java class we can use as a data type. Good. Now, variables are used to store the data. Into a is equal to 10. That is a primitive data type. User U1 is equal to new user. U1 is also variable. Student S1 is equal to new student. What is S1? S1 is a variable. What is the data type of the S1? Student. Student is a user defined data type or predefined data type. User defined data type. Student is a class. Student is a class. User is a class. Every Java class can be used as a data type also. Every Java class can be used as a data type also. Are you guys clear with my point? Yes. Variables are divided into 3 types. First one is global variables. Global variables, which are also called as instance variables. Global variables and instance variables. As of now, we have not used that variable. So 1 month completed, but we have not used global variable. Okay. Second category is a static variables. Global variables are instance variables. We can also call them as non-static variables. Second category is a static variable. Third category is a local variables. How many types of variables we have, guys? There are 3 types of variables available. What is the purpose of the variables? Variables are used to store the data. To store the data into a variable, we need to specify data type. That a data type can be a primitive data type or it can be a reference to data type. It can be a class also. Every Java class can be used as a data type. So here a integer type, U1 user type, S1 student type. S1 student type. Variables are divided into 3 types. What are the 3 types? global variable, instance variables, and non-static variables all are same. You can call the global variable as a instance variable or non-static variable. Second category is a static variable. Third category is a local variable. Are you guys clear? Now let's talk about instance variables. Let's talk about instance variables. The variables which are declared inside the class outside the method. Are you guys getting my point? As of now, where I am declaring my variables, where is u1? u1 is available inside the method. In the last 1 month of time, everything we are writing inside the main method. Are you guys getting my point? From the last one method, from last 1 month, we are developing the programs. In that programs, we are using variables. All the variables I'm declaring inside the method. The variable which is declared inside the method is called as a local variable. The scope of this variable only specific to this method is kept. That variable which is created inside the method cannot be accessed outside of the method. Are you guys able to get my point? Now, if you declare a variable inside the class outside a method, that variable is called as a instance variable. What is this variable, guys? Instance variable. Why we are calling that as an instance variable? The variable is declared inside the class and outside the method. That means in this class, anybody can use that variable. That is a public variable. That is a global variable. Tomorrow, I am going to create one M1 method here. Tomorrow, I am going to create one M1 method here. I am going to create one M2 method here. Class is nothing but the combination of variables and methods. Methods are used to perform the action. Variables are used to store the data. Now my method want to access the variable. Two methods want to access the same variable. Now, if I declare a variable integer a is equal to 10, where I can use that variable? Only within the M1. Can I access that variable in the M2? No. Why? That is a local. That is a local. Okay. Now we are going to talk about instance variables. Variables which are declared. Variables which are declared inside the class and outside the method. Variables which are declared inside the class and outside the method are called as instance variables. Are called as instance variables. Instance variables can be accessed by any method available in the class. That is a global. It is a public. It is open for everybody. That is open for everybody. Variable instance variables can be accessed by all the methods available in the class. All the methods available in the class. For instance variables, initialization is optional. What is the meaning of initialization? Guys, here if you see, a is a one variable, guys. A is a one variable. A is what type of variable? A is what type of variable? A is a instance variable. Now, I declared the variable or I initialized the variable also. I have just declared that variable. Okay. Initialization is optional for the instance variables. Are you guys getting my point? Okay. Initialization. What is the meaning of initialization? Initialization is optional for instance variables. Instance variables. Instance variables are called as object variables. What is that, guys? Instance variable. Instance means object. Instance means object. So here the variables which are declared inside the class and outside the method are called as instance variables. Instance variables can be accessed by all the methods available in the class. That's why they are called as a global variable. They are called as a global variable. Initialization is a mandatory or optional for the instance variables. Initialization is optional for instance variables. Instance variables are called as object variables. Instance variables will be initialized with the default values when the object is created. If you want, you can do like this, guys. I'm entering into the subject now. You have to focus. If you don't concentrate for 1 minute also, you will not connect to the next concept. From now, everything is interlinked. From now, everything is interlinked. Every point that is coming from my mouth is important. And there is a relation between one point to another point. If you lose your concentration for 1 minute, if your brain is diverting, you cannot understand the oops. So I am preparing the basics to use the oops now. Very, very, very important concept. Okay. Now for this instance variables, initialization is a mandatory or initialization is optional. Optional. If I don't initialize, that variable will be initialized with the default value when the object is created. That variable will be initialized with the default value when the object is created for that class. All right. Instance variables. The variables which are declared inside the class, outside the method are called as instance variables. Instance variables can be accessed by all the methods available in the class. Initialization is optional for instance variables. Instance variables are called as object variables. When the object, if we don't initialize, when we create the object, memory will be allocated for instance variables. When the memory will be allocated for instance variables, when you create the object for the class, then only memory will be allocated for the instance variables. If we don't initialize the instance variables, then it will be, when you don't initialize the instance variable, it will be initialized with the default value when the object is created. Are you guys getting my point? Can you read the points once again? Yep, come on. Variables which are declared inside the class and outside the method are called as instance variables. Instance variables can be accessed by all the methods available in the class. That's why they are called as global variables. That's why they are called as global variables. Global variables. Initialization is mandatory or optional. Initialization is optional for instance variables. Instance variables are called as object variable. That means when the object is created, then only instance variable will be created. If the object is not created, there is no use of instance variable. I have declared an instance variable, but I have not created object for the class. कुछ फायदा है क्या? कुछ नहीं, because when the object is created, then only memory will be allocated for instance variable. Now, when the object is created, instance variable will be initialized with the default value. If you initialize, then no problem. If you don't initialize, when the object is created, that variable will be initialized with the default value. Are you guys clear with my point? Okay. Now, one tricky question. Integer a is equal to 10. Okay, now system dot out dot println of a. What is the output? 11. 10 or error? Error. Why? Oh, variable, instance variable or not? That is a instance variable. Why you are saying that is a instance variable? Inside the class, outside the method. Now, in my main method, I am trying to access the variable a. For a, memory will be allocated or memory will not be allocated? Will not allocate. Why? Object is not created. So that variable we cannot access because that variable is a instance variable. For that class, object is not created. If the object is created, then only instance variable will present in the JVM. Otherwise, it will not be there. Memory will not be allocated. Without creating the variable in the JVM, how can you access that variable? That means it is a error. It is a error. Are you guys getting my point? Yes. Now, this is the reason from the last 1 month, I am declaring the variables inside the method, not outside the method. If I declare outside the method, program फट जाएगा. Why? We are not creating the object. If you don't create the object, memory will not be allocated. If the memory is not allocated, that object, that variable will not be available. We cannot access. The instance variables cannot be accessed directly in the main method. Why? Because main method is a static method. Main method is a static method. For static, दूसरा story है. We will discuss about that. Okay. Currently, we are talking about the instance. Right. Right. So if we don't initialize instance variable, it will be initialized with the default value when the object is created. Every object will maintain its own copy of the instance variable. A tricky point, very important point. Next point is very important. Every object will maintain its own copy of the instance variable. Are you guys getting my point? For one class, I can create 2 objects, right? For one class, I can create 2 objects, right? That means memory will be allocated 2 times for the variable. Getting my point? Every object will maintain its own copy of the instance variable. Why? Because now I have a user class. Ramu is one user. Rani is one user. Ramesh is one user. Suresh is one user. Every user age will be same. Every user age will be different. Every user age will be different. Now see here, I'm taking a variable integer age. Integer age. Now I'm creating user Raju is equal to new user. Now I will store Raju dot age is equal to 20. Raju dot age is equal to 20. Now I will go for user Rani is equal to new user Rani dot age is equal to 25. 25. That means one variable, 2 objects, right? Those 2 objects are accessing the same variable, but every object will maintain its own copy of the instance variable. For Raju user, age is available. For Rani user also, age is available. That means instance variables are specific to object. Instance variables are specific to object. Now here, if I don't do this, simply I'm doing like this. When I do like this, what will happen? Simple. Ek minute. I have a class, guys. My class is user. In the user class, I am having age variable. Okay? I am having age variable. For example, this line is not available. Okay? Then can you see what is the code available in my program? My program is having one variable, one method. That variable is a what type of variable it is? Instance variable. Did I initialize that variable? No. Did I initialize the variable? I am not doing. I have just declared the variable. Inside the main method, I am creating the object. What is the meaning of creating the object? Creating the object is nothing but allocating the memory. Now, in the JVM, heap area will be available, which is used to create the objects. Okay. Now here I have created one object. What is this object? This object is Raju object. This object is Raju object. When this object is created, memory will be allocated for instance variable. What is the age now? What is the age now? Age is a instance variable. Did I initialize that? No. Then what will happen? It will be initialized with the default value. Raju is one object. Raju is one object. When the Raju object is created, age variable is initialized with the default value. So Raju object having a copy of the age. Now I'm going to create one more object here. User Rani is equal to new user. Rani is equal to new user. What I have done? I have created one more object. What is the variable of that object? Rani. For the Rani object also, age variable will be initialized with the 0. That means one variable available, but I have created two objects. Every object is maintaining its own copy of the instance variable. Raju will have one age, Rani will have one age, Ramesh will have one age. That's why instance variables are object variables. Every object will maintain its own copy of the instance variable. Is my point clear now? Yes. Can you read the last point? What is the last point? Every object will maintain its own copy of the instance variable. So now my class is having one instance variable. I created two objects for the class. How many times memory will be allocated for that variable? 2 times. For Raju object, memory will be allocated. For Rani object also, memory will be allocated. Why? Because object instance variables are specific to objects. Every object will maintain its own copy of the instance variable. Can I prove that now? Yes. Raju and Rani. Now I am going to access like this. System.out.println Raju.age object.variable. Now if I access the variable directly like this, error. If I access the variable directly, it is error. Why? Because my variable is an instance variable, method is a static method. Instance, static, both are enemies. Instance and static both are enemies in the Java. Instance variables cannot be accessed in the static methods directly. If you want to access the instance variable, we will go for object. Object dot instance variable. Are you guys clear with my point? Now, if I want to access the age is a static variable, age is a non-static variable. Non-static variable. Sir, what is that static? Baad mein aayega. Right now we are focusing on the instance. How to access the instance variable? Object name dot variable. What is the object name? Raju. Raju dot age. Now similarly here, system dot out dot println Rani dot age. Rani dot age. If I run this program, what is the output? What is the output? 0 0. Why 0 0? I have not initialized. Then who will initialize? JVM. When JVM will initialize? When the object is created. Okay, now let's do run. Are we saying 0 0? That 0 is a default value for the int. My variable is a int. For the int variable, default value is 0. Okay, fine. Now I am going to do like this. Raju dot age is equal to 20. Raju dot age is equal to 20. So Rani age, am I changing the Rani age? I'm changing only Raju age. Okay. What is the conclusion? Conclusion matlab 20 0. Everybody can read it, man. When I assign the value for the Raju age, Rani age is changing. Rani age not changing. Not changing. What is the conclusion? Raju maintaining age as 1 copy. Rani maintaining age as 1 copy. When I change the variable value for the Raju object, Rani object value not changed. That is the proof to say that every object will maintain its own copy of the instance variables. Did you understand my point now? Is this clear? Yes. Can I change the Rani variable value also? Rani dot age is equal to 25. Rani dot age is equal to 25. Now execute this. For Raju age we are getting 20. For Rani age we are getting 25. Iska matlab they are maintaining their own copies. Every object is maintaining its own copy of the instance variable. How to access the instance variable now? How I am accessing the instance variable? Come on. Object dot variable name. Why? My logic is available in the static method. Static method instance variables are enemies. Instance variables cannot be accessed in the static method directly. That's why for instance variables we are accessing by using object. Are you guys getting my point? Right, good. Biryani restaurant. Nice. Guys, okay. Now observe the code. Let's understand the internals of this program. Are you getting my point? So we are doing postmortem. What is the meaning of postmortem? Right? So when the person is dead, unwanted, unexpected death is happened, hospital people will take that body, will cut that body and will see what exactly happened internally. Why this person dead? How this person dead? वो कब death हुआ था? All the information doctors will identify by investigating our body parts. By investigating our body parts, doctors will understand root cause of the death. That is called postmortem. Similarly, we are not doctors to cut the body, right? We are engineers. So we need to do postmortem on the program, not on the human body. Okay, guys. Now, why we are doing postmortem on the program? अंदर क्या चल रहा है, अंदर क्या हो रहा है. We need to understand what is happening internally in the JVM. We are doing postmortem for the JVM. We should not do postmortem for the humans because we are not doctors. We are engineer. हम JVM को postmortem करना है, right? Do you need any knife for that? No. We just need to JVM itself we can't see. Can I see the JVM with my eyes? I cannot see. Why? It is a virtual machine. वो कब आएगा, कैसे आएगा, कब रहेगा, कुछ नहीं पता चलता. Right? It is just a virtual machine. Right? Now, let's understand internally what is happening in the program. When I execute this program, what is happening internally? What is happening internally? Once you understand the internals, your confidence level will increase. When you will talk confidently on the subject, if you know the internals of the program, always we need to understand the internals, how it is working. Code everybody can write. Everybody can write. But the programmer who understand the internals will get more confidence. I have seen one shairi in the Hindi. Can I tell that? हाँ, लहरें को साथ कोई भी तैर कर सकता है, सहिंजा वो जो लहरों के चीर करके तैर लेता है. सुना? What is the meaning? Translate कर सकते कोई? लहरें को साथ कोई भी तैर कर सकता है, सहिंजा वो जो लहरों के चीर करके तैर लेता है. Anybody can translate that? हाँ? When the water is flowing, everybody can swim in that flow. Oh banda who return swim karta hai, that person is called as a swimmer. Opposite direction में जाना है. When the water is flowing from top to bottom, everybody can do the swimming. But if you do the swim in the reverse direction, then you are called as a swimmer. पता है? Good. Similarly, everybody can write the program. But who is called as a good programmer? Who understands internals of the program, that person is called as a good programmer. Understand my point? Good. Now let's understand internals of this program. Sir, people are getting shocked. इसको कैसे हिंदी आता है बोल के? हाँ? शायर कैसे आया? Explain in English. हाँ? Explain किया यार. Good. चलो. Now here line number 1. Can you tell me what will happen when this first line is executed? Object will be created. What is the meaning of object creation? Memory will be allocated. Memory will be allocated. Can I call this object as a Raju object? Can I call this object as a Raju object? Raju object is created. Look at this program. Look at this program. Raju object is created. Whenever the object is created, first JVM will check, do we have any instance variables in the class? Do we have any instance variables in the class? Can you check it? Do I have any instance variable? Yes, I have one instance variable. What is that? Age. Then immediately it will create the age variable. It will check, is that variable just declared or that variable initialized? Is that just declared or is that variable initialized also? Just declared. Nothing but that variable is not initialized. When a programmer did not initialize the variable, then JVM will initialize the variable with the default value. What is the data type of the variable? Integer. For integer, what is the default value? 0. Into age is equal to 0. That variable is initialized with the default value. When the first, now see here, When the first line of code is executed, one object is created, memory allocated for the instance variable, and that instance variable initialized with the default value, that is 0. Are you guys clear with my point? Now, after that, second line of code is executed. What I am doing in the second line? I am initializing. I am initializing. Already that variable is initialized. Now I am initializing. JVM initialized in the first line only. I am initializing the variable in the second line. Can I call it as a reinitialization? Yes. Now JVM will think, this person also initialized this variable. ठीक है, मेरा वैल्यू निकाल के प्रोग्रामर को इंपॉर्टेंस देना पड़ेगा. So remove my value, keep the programmer value. Programmer is forcing me to reinitialize the variable. Then JVM will reinitialize the age variable with the 20. Are you guys getting my point? Now, third line. What I am doing in the third line? System.out.println of Raju.age. Now in the age variable, what value available? 20 available. That's why we are getting the output as 20. Is this clear? Now let's move on. Fourth line of code is available. What I am doing in the fourth line? I am creating the object. What is the meaning of creating the object? Another object will be created. What is the variable holding that object? Rani is the variable. I have created another object in the fourth line. That means I have allocated memory for the Rani object. Whenever we create the object, immediately it will check, is there any instance variable available? Yes, there is a instance variable available. Then allocate the memory. This variable initialized or not initialized? Not initialized. Then what JVM will do? TK, programmer did not initialize. Let me initialize the 0 because it is a default value. Right. Memory allocated for the age. Raju having the age, Rani also having the age. Two objects will have their own copy of the variable. Fourth line completed. Come to fifth line. What is happening in the fifth line? Rani.age. That means what programmer is doing now? He is reinitializing the age variable for the Rani object. Then what the JVM will do? Here, programmer is forcing me. Okay, remove my value. Programmer value store karo. 25. It is going to store 25. Then what I am doing in the sixth line? System.out.println Rani.age. Rani is one object which is holding age variable. Rani object age variable having 25. So it will print 25 as the output. Understand how this program is working? Is it clear now? So whenever we create the object, memory will be allocated and instance variables also will be created. If you create the object, then only instance variable will be created in the JVM. If you don't create the object, then instance variable will not be created. Instance variables are called as object variable. If object is available, instance variable will be available. If object not available, instance variable will not be available. Are you getting my point? Now, can you tell me? I'm removing this diagram now. I want you people to explain me once again. Okay? Nikal dena. Just to focus on these 6 lines of code. Now, when the first line is executed, what will happen? Object will be created. Who is going to create the object? JVM will be creating the object. What is the meaning of object creation? Allocating the memory. When the object is created, what JVM will do immediately? It will check for the instance variables in the class. It will check for the instance variable. Do we have the instance variable? Yes. What is the meaning of instance variable? The variable which is declared inside the class, outside the method, is called as instance variable. Do we have the instance variable? Yes. What is that instance variable? Age. Then what JVM will do? What JVM will do? It will allocate the memory for the instance variable. It will check that variable is just declared or that variable is initialized? What I have done? I have just declared. Then what JVM will do? It will initialize with the default value based on the data type. What is the data type of my variable? Integer. What is the default value for the integer? 0. Now, when the first line of code is executed, object is created, instance variable created, memory allocated for the instance variable initialized with the default value. So many things are happening in one line of code. So those are called as internals of the program. So if you understand the internals, then your confidence will increase. Getting my point? Yes. Now first line is completed. Come to second line. What I am doing in the second line? Raju.age. Now tell me, if I explain all these things in the variables class, we discussed variables, right? If I explain this much subject in the variables, people will feel Java is difficult. People will feel Java is difficult. People bhag jata hai. People will run away from the class. So that's why we did not cover all the topics in the first chapter and second chapter and third chapter, because without understanding the internals, we can't explain all these things. Okay, we know when to teach what. That proper planning is already prepared. Okay, guys, fine, good. Now come to second line. Second line, Raju.age. What that Raju.age? Raju is a variable which is holding one user class object. That means variable dot, Raju dot age. One variable I am using to access another variable. Raju is also a variable. Age is also a variable. Raju variable holding object. Age is a instance variable. Raju dot age. What is the meaning of that? What is the meaning of that? Raju variable having age. Raju is one object now. In that object age variable available. What is the meaning of Raju.age? In the Raju object, initialize the age variable with 20. Can I call it as a reinitialization? Can I call it as a reinitialization? Yes, I have done the reinitialization. What I am doing it now, in the Raju object, age variable holding which value? 20. When I access Raju.age, it will print what? 20. Because Raju object having a copy of the age variable, that age variable in the Raju object holding value 20. When the third line of code is executed, we will get the output as a 20. Are you clear? Now let's go for fourth line. What I am doing in the fourth line? What I am doing in the fourth line? I am creating the object. Now tell me, what is the meaning of creating the object? Allocating the memory. Who is creating the object? Who is allocating the memory? JVM is creating the object. JVM is allocating the memory. When the memory is allocated for the object, what the JVM will do immediately? What the JVM will do immediately? By check karo. Do we have any instance variables in the class? Do we have any instance variable in the class? Yes. What is instance variable? The variable which is declared inside the class, outside the method, is called as a instance variable. Memory will be allocated for the instance variable. That instance variable is initialized or not initialized? Initialized or not initialized? Not initialized. Then what JVM will do? Initialize with the default based on the data type. What is the data type of the variable? Integer. What is the default value for the integer? 0. Done. Done. Fourth line is executed. Then JVM will go to fifth line. What I am doing in the fifth line? Rani.age. Rani.age. That means, am I accessing this variable or this variable? Rani age, not Raju age. Every object will maintain its own copy of the instance variable. Now in the fifth line I am doing Rani.age. What is going to happen now? the default value will be reinitialized with the 25. Raju age is 20, Rani age is 25. Are you clear with my point? Now come to line number 6. What is happening in the line number 6? What is happening in the line number 6? I am printing Rani age. Rani object age variable. What is the value? 25. So what is the output? 20, 25. Is this clear now? Next, suppose if I write like this, user Ashok is equal to new user. When this line of code is executed, what will happen? Object will be created. Object will be created. For this object, I am giving the name as a Ashok. Then what will happen? Age variable will be created. Ashok also will have the age variable. What is the value? 0. 0. That is a default value. Now, are you clear with this line of code? Is there any difficulty? No. We are just using instance variable and we are creating the object. We are initializing the variable. We are accessing the variable. Instance variables are object variable. If you create the object, then only instance variable will be created in the JVM. Instance variables we cannot access directly in the static method. Instance and static both are enemies in the Java. Are you clear with this point? Good. Read this. Come on. Read these concepts. Read this. Are you clear with the concept now? Good. Okay. Instance variables are also called as non-static variables. All right. Next one. Let's go for static variables. Let's go for static variables. The variables which are declared, with the guys, I'm getting some disturbance from backside. What's happening there? Kuch gadbad hua? Any problem? And why noise is coming? Keep silent. Concentrate on the class. This much good explanation you will not get outside. If you miss the class, you are gone. If you miss the class, you are gone. Nobody will give you this much clarity on the OOPS concepts. For sure. Please concentrate. Static variables. The variables which are declared inside the class, outside the method with the static keyword. Static is one of the keyword in the Java. The variables which are declared inside the class and outside the method with the static keyword are called as static variables. The variables which are declared inside the class and outside the method with the static keyword are called as static variables. Static variables are class level variables. Instance variables are object level variables. Static variables are class level variables. Static variables are class level variables. Memory will be allocated for the static variables the class is loaded into the JVM. Memory will be allocated for the instance variable when the object is created. Static variables are not related to the object. Whenever you run the program, class loader subsystem will load the class into JVM. When the class is loaded into the JVM, immediately JVM will check, is there any static variable available in the class? Then allocate the memory. JVM will allocate the memory for the static variables immediately when the class is loaded into the JVM. Can we say JVM and static very close friends? Yes or no? JVM and static variables are very close friends. That's the reason whenever the class is loaded into the JVM, immediately it is going to allocate the memory for static variable. What about object? What about instance variable? JVM and instance variables are two relatives. They are not that much close friends. That's why by TK, hi, Ruko. When the object is created, then only memory will be allocated for the instance variable. What about the static variable? Close friends. That's why when the class is loaded, immediately it is going to allocate the memory for the static variable. Just simple. Learning programming is not difficult. Just to relate with your real life example. Now, simple example. Two people came. One person is my friend, another person is not my friend. Okay, whom I will meet first? Friend ko मैं meet करता हूँ. I will wish my friend, I will meet my friend. So just imagine, JVM static variables are close friends. JVM instance variables are not close friends. So that's why whenever the class is loaded, JVM will allocate the memory for static variables. It will not allocate the memory for the instance variable. When the instance variable memory will be allocated, if the object is created, then only memory will be allocated for the instance variable. Just if you remember this general example, then easily you can remember the concept. Okay, whenever you are preparing, write it. JVM static close friends. That's why when the class is loaded, immediately memory will be allocated for the static variables. Static variables are class level variables. When class is loaded into JVM, then immediately memory will be allocated for static variables. Memory will be allocated for static variables. Static variables are common for the objects. You create any number of objects. All the objects will have same copy. Instance variable means every object will have their own copy. But when you go for static variable, all the objects will have same copy. Simple example. Now, if I ask this person, can you stand up? Your name, Ankit. Your age, 25. You are doing course in which institute? Ashok. Yeah, sit down. That means he's having a name, he's having an age, he's doing the course in our institute. Next person, stand up. Name, Gautam. Age, 26. You are doing course in which institute? Ashok. That means the institute name is common for both objects. Now you have to stand up. He is one object. Ankit is one object. This first person is Ankit. His name is Ankit. Second person name is Gautam. So name is different for two people. Two objects are having their own name, but they are doing the course in Ashok IT. Ashok IT is common for both. Now for all these 60 people, every person is having a separate name, every person having some age, every person having a gender, but you all belongs to one institute now. So institute name is common for all the objects. Name is specific to every object. When you want to declare some data which is common for all the objects, go for static variable. When you want to declare some data which is specific to every object, then go for instance variable. So when to go for instance variable, when to go for static variable, when to go for instance variable, when to go for static variable. If all the objects want same data, then go for static variable. If every object want to maintain their own copy of the data, then go for instance variable. When the memory will be allocated for instance variables, when the object is created. When the memory will be allocated for static variable, when the class is loaded, because static variables are class level, they are not specific to object. Static variable is common for all the objects. Are you guys clear with my point? Right. So what is a static variable? What is a static variable? The variables which are declared inside the class and outside the method with a static keyword are called as static variables. Static variables are class level variables. When the class is loaded into JVM, then immediately memory will be allocated for the static variables. All the objects of the class will maintain same copy of the static variable. So instance variable will be having different copy for every object. Static variables will have same copy. And how many times the memory will be allocated for instance variable? How many times the memory will be allocated for static variables? How many times the memory will be allocated for instance variables? How many times the memory will be allocated for static variables? For static variables, memory will be allocated only one time. That is when the class is loaded into JVM. What about instance variable? Whenever you create the object, memory will be allocated. If you create the second object, again, memory will be allocated. If you create third object, again, memory will be allocated. If you create three objects, memory will be allocated for instance variable 3 times. But for static variable, memory will be allocated only one time. Why? Because static variables are class level variables. Instance variables are object level variables. Are you guys able to understand? Right. So for static variables, memory will be allocated when the class is loaded. Memory will be allocated for static variables. Memory will be allocated for static variables only once when the class is loaded into JVM. But what about the instance variables? When we create the object, memory will be allocated for instance variable. When you create a new object, memory will be allocated. If you create the object, then memory will be allocated. If we create object, if you create two objects, then what will happen? If you create two objects, then 2 times memory will be allocated for instance variables. But for static variables, if you create 100 objects also, no, memory will be allocated only one time. Now tell me, when to go for instance variables, when to go for static variables? When we want to maintain same copy of the data for all the objects. Best example, you all are students, you have your own name, you have your own age or gender or your phone number, email ID. Everybody will have a unique phone number. Everybody will have a unique name. Everybody will have a unique mobile number, unique email ID. But the institute name is common for all of you. You all are doing the course in the same institute. So institute name, you can call it as a static variable. Name, email, phone number, we can call as a instance variable. Are you guys clear with my point? Good. So let me take one class here with a name called student. New, interesting or not? Very interesting. If you focus, it's very interesting. If you deviate, body present, mind absent means kuch nahi aata. It's very difficult to understand. Student is there. Now I want to declare, now you all are the student, I want to declare student to data. Now I want to declare student data. I need a class. Class is the plan. Class is a plan. To create the class, I'm using a keyword called class keyword. I'm using a keyword called class keyword. Now here I will declare string name. Why I am taking name as a string? Name nothing but group of characters. Name nothing but group of characters. And integer are long phone number. Long phone number and string email. Name, email and phone number. Now string. I'm going to take string institute. String institute. If I declare string institute as a instance variable, what is the problem? Unnecessarily bar memory allocated in the JVM. So is it recommended? Why? Because now you all are the students, belongs to our institute. Your name, your email ID, your phone number is unique or different, but institute name is common, right? Now if I go here, if I create a main method, now I am going to create student नाम क्या है Ankit. Yeah, so इसका नाम Ankit is equal to new student. Now if this line of code is executed, what will happen? Object will be created. Then what will happen? Memory will be allocated for the instance variables. How many instance variables available? How many instance variables available? 4 instance variables are available. Now I am going to do student Gautam is equal to new student. If I do like this, again what will happen? Memory will be allocated for the all the 4 variables once again. All the 4 variables will be created once again in the JVM. So first, when the Ankit object is created, these 4 variables will be created, memory will be allocated. When the Gautam object is created, again 4 variables will be created, memory will be allocated. But we need to apply our common sense as a programmer. Array, there are 60 people available. If I create object for the 60 people, 60 times memory will be allocated for the variable. But institute name is the common. Why to allocate memory every time? Why to allocate memory every time? Why to waste our memory? Why to waste our memory? Then what I will do? This one I will declare as a static. फायदा क्या है? What is the use? Now for the institute variable, memory will be allocated only once. For the remaining variables, memory will be allocated whenever the objects are created. Are you guys getting my point? Okay. Now if I execute this program, can you tell me what will happen internally? Whenever I execute this program, can you tell me what will happen internally? I want you people to tell me what will happen internally when I execute this program. Okay, guys. Right. This is my program. What will happen when this online people able to follow me? Good. Right. So now here I have a class called student. Now I am going to execute this program. Who is going to execute our program? JVM. Who will load the class into JVM? Class loader subsystem. Now the class is loaded. Class is loaded. What JVM will do? It will check for his best friend. Who is the best friend for JVM? Static variable. So when the class is loaded, immediately JVM will allocate the memory for which variable? Static variable. What is that static variable? Institute. Is there any value available? No value. Then it will initialize the default value. The default value for the institute is null. String default value is a null value. String default value is a null value. Now instance variable is created in the JVM. Instance variable created in the JVM. Instance variables are, sorry, instance variable created, institute variable is created. Institute variable is a static variable. Static variables will be created in the JVM when the class is loaded. After that, now it is going to execute the program from the main method. Main method is also a static method. Static JVM, close friends. First it will check the static variable. Yes, static variable is available. Static variable memory allocated. Then it is checking static method. Which is static method? Main method. Main method is a static method. That's why JVM is calling that main method by default. What is the entry point for our program execution? Main method. JVM is going to execute the program from the main method. Main method is also a static method. Main method is also a static method. Okay, execution started. Inside the main method, what is the first line? Student Ankit is equal to new student. What is the meaning of that? Creating the object. I'm creating one object for Ankit. I'm creating one object for Ankit. When the object is created for student class, then what JVM will do? What JVM will do? It will check, do we have any instance variable? Do we have any instance variable? Yes. How many instance variables available? 3. Name. Name is a string. Default value null. Then email string. Default value null. Phone number long. Default value 0. Okay. Memory allocated for 3 variables when the object is created, because these 3 variables are instance variables. That is completed. Go to the next line. Go to the next line. Student Gautam is equal to new student. What is the meaning of student Gautam is equal to new student? I'm creating one more object. One more object with a name called Gautam. Okay. When this object is created, memory is allocated. Then it will check, do we have any instance variable? Do we have any instance variable? Yes. Those variables are initialized or not initialized? Not initialized. Then what JVM will do? It will create these instance variables in the Gautam object, will initialize with the default value. Ankit having its own copy of the variable. Ankit is one object. Ankit object having its own copy of the instance variables. Gautam is one object. Gautam object having its own copy of the instance variable. Is there any relation between static variable and object? Static variable and object, is there any relation? No. Static variables are created when the class is loaded. Instance variable is created when the object is created. How many times memory allocated for the static variable? Only one time. That is also when the class is loaded. How many times memory allocated for instance variables? 2 times. Why 2 times allocated? Because I created 2 objects. If I create 3 objects, 3 times. If I create 10 objects, 10 times. Clear na? Instance variable nothing but object variable. Static variable nothing but class variable. When the class is loaded, memory will be allocated for static variable. When the object is created, memory will be allocated for instance variables. Fine, good. So with this, we got the clarity on what is instance variable and what is static variable. Static variables we can access directly by using class name. Static variables can be accessed directly by using class name. How we are accessing the instance variables? Instance variables we are accessing by using object name. Static variables we will access by using class name. Static variables we will access using class name. How to access the static variable? Directly you can access, or you can access by using class name also. What is my class name? Student. Student dot institute is equal to Ashok IT. Like this we are doing. Student dot institute. When it comes to the name, what I will do? Ankit dot name. Ankit dot name is equal to Ankit. Okay? Ankit is one object. When it comes to Gautam object, it is Gautam dot name. How I am, name is what kind of variable? Name is what kind of variable? String variable. Instance variable or static variable? Name is instance variable or static variable? Instance. How I am accessing the instance variable? How I am accessing the instance variable? By using object. How I am accessing the static variable? By using class name. How many times memory will be allocated for instance variable? Every time when the object is created. How many times memory will be allocated for static variable? Only one time when the class is loaded into the JVM. Clear. Now, when to go for instance variables and when to go for static variables? When to go for instance variable, when to go for static variable, when to go for instance variables and when to go for static variables. Come on, tell me. Come on, guys. When to declare variable as static or non-static. Non-static nothing but instance. Non-static nothing but instance. Instance is also called as a global. Okay. If we want different value for every object, then go for non-static or instant. If you want same value for all the objects, then static. If we want to store different value based on object, then use instance variable. When the variable value is the same for all the objects, then go for static. If we want to store same value for all objects, then use static variable. Is this clear? Right. We are clear with instance variables and static variables. Now, static variables can be accessed directly by using class name. Fine. Next, third category, those are called as, what are that? Local variables. Now tell me, what is a local variable? The variables which are declared inside the method. Now we know about method. In future, we will get a constructor, we will get the block. Okay, the variable which is declared inside the method or constructor or the block is called as a local variable. The variables which are declared inside the method or constructor or block are called as local variables. Local variables are specific to that method or that constructor or that block. If we declare a local variable within the method, that variable can be used only within that method. The scope of the variable is limited. The scope of the local variable is limited. That variable we can use only within that method execution. That variable will not be available outside of the method. Are you guys getting my point? The variables which are declared inside the method or constructor or block are called as local variables. If we declare a variable within the method, then that variable can be used or accessed only within that method, not outside. For example, now I'm declaring one variable here, integer a is equal to 10. Now tell me, a is a global variable or a is a local variable? A is a local variable. Now, where I can access this a variable? I declared this a variable inside the main method. The variable which is declared inside the method is called as a local variable. This method you can access only in the main method because it is declared only in the main method. Tomorrow I am going to write one M1 method. In this M1 method, can I access system.out.name? Name can I access? What is the name? Name is the instance or static or local? Instant. Instance variables are global. Any method can access the global variable. But when it comes to system.out.println of A, am I able to access or I'm getting the error? Am I able to access or I'm getting the error? I'm getting the error. What is that? A cannot be resolved to a variable. Boss, I don't know what is A. I don't know what is A. Why it is saying that I don't know A? A is already declared here now, but why it is saying that I don't know A? A is scope. A scope is only within the method. Outside of this method, that variable cannot be accessed. So if you want to use the variables only within that method, then go for local variables. Local variables will be created when the method is executed. Once the method execution completed, local variables will be deleted. Local variables are short period variables. When the method execution start, variable will create. When the method execution completed, variables will be deleted. If you want to use a variable for temporary purpose, just for that method execution, then only go for the local variables. Can I declare local variable as a static variable? Can I declare this local variable as a static variable? No. You cannot make the local variable as a static variable. Static keyword is not allowed for the local variables. Okay, fine. Guys, now I'm going to take a class called demo. I'm going to take a class called demo. Public static void main string array of args. String array of args. Integer A. Integer A, integer B is equal to 20. System dot out dot println of A, system dot out dot println of B. Tell me what is the output? What is the output? 0 and 20. Wrong. Error. Error. Why? Because A is a what variable? Local variable na. For local variables, initialization is mandatory before accessing. If you want to use any local variable, you have to initialize that variable. You have to initialize that variable. Are you guys clear with my point? Now let me go here. Integer is available. Integer A is available. Integer A is available. If I declare the variable, no error. Why? If I declare that variable, I'm not getting any error. Why? I am not using. I just declared it. I am not using. Now I am doing SOP of A. What is the meaning of this? Accessing. But before accessing, is that variable initialized? No. So that is one of the rule in the Java. Before using the local variable, those variables should be initialized by the programmer, because those are local variables we have created inside the method. When you want to use that variable, you have to initialize that variable before using that variable. Are you clear? Cool. Chalo, let's make a note of it. If we declare the variable within the method, then that variable can be used or accessed only within that method. So initialization is mandatory for the local variables before using them. If you want to use them, you have to initialize them. Before using local variables, we have to initialize them. What is the meaning of initialization? What is the meaning of initialization? Assigning the value. From last 1 month, what variables we have used? Local variables. We have declared a variable and we have initialized the variable and we have used that variable also. So till today or till yesterday, all the programs we have done based on the local variables. The variable which is declared inside the method is called as a local variable. When the memory will be allocated for the local variable? When the memory will be allocated for the local variable, when that method is called, or when that constructor is called, or when that block is executed, wherever you declare, when that program, when that piece of code is executing, then only memory will be allocated. If we create a local variable in the method, if we create a variable within the method, then within the method memory will be allocated for that variable when that method is executing. After method execution completed, that will be deleted. After that method execution, that variable will be deleted from the JVM. So what is the scope of local variables? Local variables are specific to that particular method. What is the scope of the static variable? Class level. When the class is loaded, static variable will be loaded. What is the scope of the instance variable? Object level. When the object is created, instance variable will be created. Can I access instance variable in the static method? No. Why? If you want to access the instance variable, object is mandatory. If you create the object, then only you can access the instance variables in the static method. Are you guys clear now? Chalo. So with this we understood what is instance variable and what is static variable and what is local variable. Now tell me, what is the difference between instance variable, static variable and local variable? Can anyone tell me the difference between instance variable, static variable and local variable? So today we have learned which concept? Variables concept with the internals of that. Earlier 1 month back also we discussed variable. That time just basic. What is a variable? How to create, how to initialize, how to use it. But today we understood complete the story of the variables in the Java. Variables are used to store the data. So to create a variable, data type is mandatory. Based on the data type, we can store the value. You can use a primitive data type. You can use a reference data type. You can use a user-defined data type also. Variables are divided into how many types? Variables are divided into 3 types. What are those 3 types? Global variables, instance variables, non-static. This single only. That is a one variable, instance variable. Second one, static variable. Third one, local variable. What is the meaning of instance variables? Variables which are declared inside the class and outside the method are called as instance variable. Instance variables can be accessed by all the methods available in the class. That's why they are called as global variables. Initialization is optional for instance variable. Instance variables are called as object variables. When we create the object, then only memory will be allocated for instance variable. If we create 2 objects, then 2 times memory will be allocated for instance variable. If we don't initialize the instance variable, it will be initialized with the default value when the object is created. Initially with the default value based on data type. Okay. If it is a int, default value 0. If it is a boolean, default value is a false. Right. If it is a long, 0. If it is a string, null, like that. Every object will maintain its own copy of the instance variable. Like this, we have done one program. Next one, static variables. What is the meaning of static variables? The variables which are declared inside the class and outside the method with a static keyword are called as static variables. Static variables are class level variables. When the class is loaded into JVM, then immediately memory will be allocated for static variables. Memory will be allocated for static variables only once when the class is loaded into JVM. All the objects of the class will maintain same copy of the static variables. Static variables we will access by using class name. Like this, by using class name we can access. Instance variables we will access by using object name. Static variables we can access by using class name. Then when to declare variable as a static or non-static? When to declare the variable as a static or non-static? If we want to store different value based on the object, then use instance variable. If we want to store same value for all the objects, then use static variable. University name for the students. Okay, university name is common. Institute name is common, right? Age, phone number, name, email ID, different from person to person. Okay, local variables. What is the meaning of local variables? The variables which are declared inside the method or constructor or block are called as local variable. We don't know what is constructor, what is block. We will discuss about. Declare a variable within the method, then that variable can be used or accessed only within that method. Before using local variables, we have to initialize them. Before using local variables, we have to initialize them. Otherwise, we can't access. If we create a variable within the method, memory will be allocated for that variable when that method is executing. After that method execution, local execution completed. After that method execution completed, local variable will be deleted from memory. Local variable will be deleted from memory. If I create a local variable in the M1 method, can I access that variable in the M2 method? No. Why? Why? If I create a local variable in the M1 method, can I access that local variable in the M2 method? No. The variables are method scope. If you declare in the method, they are accessible only within the method. They are not accessible outside of the method. So now, whenever you are writing the program, you have to use your common sense and you have to declare the variable. Your manager will not tell you you need to declare the variable as a static or local or instance. Nobody will tell you. Based on the requirement, you need to use that variable. You need to declare that variable. Let me show you one example. Okay? Wait. क्लास लंबा चल रहा है क्या? 2 घंटे हो गया ऑलरेडी. फीलिंग बोर्ड? हाँ? Null only. Student S1 will hold a null value. For reference to data type, the default value is null. Yeah. You are not feeling bored ना guys? अगर बोल फील करे तो मुझे बता देना. I will kick you out. Now can you see what is this? Don't read it, man. What is this? Variable. I declared this variable inside the class, outside the method, or inside the method? Inside the class, outside the method. That variable is a static variable or instance variable. How can you say it is an instance variable? Static keyword is not available. one instance variable, second instance variable, third instance variable, fourth, fifth, sixth instance variable. What about this app? What is the app? Arey yaar, what is the app? Variable. What variable it is? Why it is a local variable? Why it is an instance variable? This variable is declared inside the method. This variable declared outside the method. The variable which declared inside the method is called as a local variable. The variable which declared outside the method is a instance variable. This app variable I can access only within this method. Method starting point, method ending point. Within this method only I can access that local variable. I can't access outside. But this instance variable I can access in any method because it is a global. Will your manager tell you that you have to declare this as a local, this as a static, this as a non-static? कोई नहीं बताता है. You have to think, you have to understand your requirement. I want one variable. This variable I want to use in 3 different methods. Then go for instance. I want to declare a variable to store the data. That variable I have to use only within one method. Then go for local variable. That maturity you should get when you are writing the program. Nobody will help you. You should become a independent programmer. What is the meaning of independent programmer? Without taking anybody help, you should be able to write the code. My intention is my students should become independent programmer. By end of this coaching, you should be able to develop the project on your own. So that is how you are going to work in the company. Nobody will help you in the company. In the company, lot of competition will be available. Nobody will help you. You should complete your work on your own. Now see, I have one method. Now plants map. It is a local variable or it is an instance variable? Local variable. Why it is a local variable? Inside the method. Now see in my program, in every method do I have the variables? In every method do I have the variables? Yes. Can we develop a program without variables? Now here I am using plan name. Plan name is equal to empty. That means I am initializing. Why I am initializing? Initialization is a mandatory for the local variables. For instance variables, it is optional. It is optional. What is this? Arey bhai, don't read it. It is a local variable. What is this? Local variable. What is this? Local variable. What is this? Local variable. Now, if you see my class, in my class, there are 179 lines of code is available. So many variables I have created. So is there any static variable? No. In my program, there is no static variable. Why? I don't have that requirement. I don't have any data which I want to share with all the objects. I don't have that data. So that's why I have not declared static. I declared a few variables as instance variable. Many variables are declared as a local variable. Why I am using local variable? When that method is executed, then only memory will be allocated. Once the method execution completed, that variable will be deleted. Memory can be saved. Memory can be saved. Clear, na? Good. So with this, we understood what is variables and how to work with variables. Tomorrow, we are going to work with methods. Very, 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 very important. Okay. Every logic we are going to write inside the method only. So tomorrow we are going to work with the methods concept. Thank you. I will see you in the tomorrow session. Thank you guys. Good. Bye-bye.